Hello, fellow vapors. Vaping Newbie here, and I wanted to take time to revisit the Cloupor ZNA50. Stick around. So I'm going to be talking again about the Cloupor ZNA50, and this came from the Village Vaporette, and the link will be down below. Why am I revisiting it? I really wanted to take a look at it a bit more after having used it nearly nonstop for 4 weeks. I have two devices that are my go-to devices. There's this, and I have an authentic Nemesis that I use. But this has been the one that travels with me, that goes around with me. And I only really found one fault with that, and that is the LED screen or the LCD screen in the sunlight is very hard to read. But let's take a look at the screen and see what it does. So there you go. There's the screen. You can see that I have a 0.6 ohm coil. It's at 24.4 watts, and I have a full battery charge. So it really is an all-informing screen, and that's an important factor for any device. There you go. It has everything that you need to see in a screen. You just have to sort of cup it in the sunlight. Now we're going to talk about the other items that people were complaining about, and that is the stability. Be back. So there we have the ZNA50, and this is with the 18650 battery. And you can see how, because of this protrusion, it might be a bit less stable on the base. It is wobbly. However, it's toppled over on me a couple of times. I am clumsy, but by far and large, it's not a big deal. So there you go. Now it has the 18500 battery in it, and you'll see a bit more stability in the base in that it has broadened this area. You have no protrusion, and it doesn't fall over anywhere near as much as it would. But there is a trade-off for this, and we'll talk about that in a moment. So now we have to look at the upside and downside. The 18500 gives you a much more stable base than the 18650. However, the 18500, you're going to go through more batteries, depending obviously on the wattage that you set. But for myself, personally, when I'm using it at home, it's not a big deal. But when I go to work, I would have to carry 6 18500 batteries to get me through the workday. Whereas if I use 18650s, I can do it in 2 or 3. And I carry around a little plastic case with a couple of batteries in there and a fresh battery in there. So I'm good for the whole day. I don't see the big deal with that protrusion, and I'll revisit that in a minute. I want to talk about all the positives. The thing I love about this is, first of all, let's talk about the power. It goes from 7 to 50 watts. In my world, that's more than enough. I average between, let's say 15 and maybe 25 watts on the device, depending on my topper. More times than not, I have a K-Fun on it with a, let's say, approximate 1 ohm build. So if I vape at 15 to 16 watts, I'm good. I don't need 50 watts, but it's there if you do. Beyond that is beyond me. I don't get it, but that, folks, is just my opinion. I don't want to start an argument. I just trying to figure it all out. Another big positive with this is the feel of it. It feels good in the hand. Now I have it in the 18500 mode. It's almost stealth. You really don't see it, and I don't have big hands. But the biggest plus to me on this device is that that 510 copper pin. I don't know if you can pick it up in there. It's literally a screw head. And just let me walk you through this. It's a 22 millimeter device. So I put on my Magma. There we go, Magma. It does have a slight gap. You could adjust it a wee bit, but I don't see the point. It doesn't bother me. The Magma, as most drippers now, are 22 millimeter devices. Works like a star. Now, if I change over to the workhorse of my vape world, this is the K-Fun, or K-Fun clone, actually. Put this on. It sits very nice, very flush. Again, 22 millimeter device, 22 millimeter copper. Now I have this a bit high for this device, but I just went from 24 to 16 watts. Amazing power. I like that, and it happened so quickly. Now, I'll go to the biggest topper that I have, and it is a 23 millimeter Typhoon. And now we have a situation. The Typhoon that I have, if I go to fire that, it says check atomizer. Now, in most of my other devices, it was a hassle. I would have to either unscrew this or take apart the device. With this, I simply go in, use the screwdriver that they include with the device, make a slight adjustment, put the tank back on, and this is the screwdriver that I showed in the first video, and here we go. It's that easy, and that to me is the biggest plus on this device. Very simple to adjust. Now, when you do take tops on and off, it does turn that screw sometimes, so you may have a more adjustment to do, but it doesn't happen very often with me. I guess I'm lucky in that way. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is actually the 18650. That seems to be the biggest point of discussion, and I'm going to put in the 18650 tube. Actually, I want to talk about one other thing that I find really nice with this device, or two others. The threading on this is really smooth. Of course, you're going to hear it. It's metal on metal. All the threading on it is really good. The bottom has that very large vent hole. So if something happens to your battery, that's such a plus and so important. But now I have it in the 18650 mod. And when I use it, I tuck my little finger underneath here and fire with my trigger finger. And again, to me, it's just not big. And that gives it a bit more strength on the grip, because really, stainless steel devices, if your hands get sweaty, have a tendency to slide. But you put your finger in there, no such thing. It works really, really well. So, yeah, I love this device. It is my favorite for a reason. And one of the big issues with the devices these days are clones or authentics. Well, this device, as I said in the first one, comes with a VIP card that allows you to go to the House of Hybrids, to send it to them with the House of Hybrids, and they'll change out the DNA chip that's inside for one of their chips. So that's telling me that they authenticated it, that we're fine. We're okay with this particular clone. That's an amazing thing in itself. It sells for about $110. You do get the 2 tubes. You get 3 extra 510 connecting pins in brass, or at least brass plated, and the handy dandy screwdriver and the VIP card. It's a good deal. If you're going to order it, go to the Village Vaporette. Don't forget, if you don't have them, you're going to need some batteries and a good charger. I just love it. I haven't spoken to anybody that dislikes it. So folks, it is something that I highly recommend. I hope you enjoyed this. You know, I like spending time with you. Stay healthy and happy vaping. Take care, folks.